Okay, so now we're halfway done. We got our E, we got our A, we got our D, and if we count up from D, we got D, or excuse me, A, B, C sharp, D. It should ring a unison here. Sure enough, we got a unison right there. We're in good shape. So let's do the same thing again. Now we got our D string in tune. So a fourth down from D, or a fourth up from D rather. You got D, E, F sharp, G. So that means the next string down, which is the first plain string. This is the third string, or the G string. A fourth up from D, fourth up from D. You've got D, E, F sharp, G. Ooh, and you can tell, not good. Our G string is way sharp, so nothing worse than a sharp G string. So you can see on the tuner there, we need to come down. Like I said earlier, if you're sharp of your pitch, you want to come down first, pull out the slack on your open string. That'll take up any slack on the tuning key, and start from scratch. So you can tell, now we're at G flat, and we're actually right, almost dead in tune. It's almost a perfectly in tune G flat, but that's not where we need to be. We need to be actually at G. So we're going to come north, and we're going to keep raising it until, according to that, we're right on the money. Let's try it again. There you go. A perfectly in tune G, so let's try it. Perfect. We're in good shape. Now, I said the guitar is tuned in fourths. That's true, except for one exception, and that's between the G and the B string. And in that case, the interval is not a fourth, but it's actually a third. And if you count up from open G, you've got G, A, B. Boom, that's all there is to it. G, A, B. So my next string down is going to be a B. Ooh, we're flat, we're terribly flat. So let's fix that. And again, we're going to come up on the tuning key till we get to where we need to be. And we're getting close there. All right, and it looks like we're right on the money. A little flat there. And lastly, we've got the, I want to say one note about the G to the B string. That interval is a third, like I mentioned. And because of the nature of that interval, you're almost never going to get that interval perfectly in tune. It's just the nature of the guitar. There is a guy named Buzz Feiten, F-E-I-T-E-N, I believe, who invented a compensated nut, which is what he calls the Buzz Feiten tuning system, which will allow, allegedly, the guitar to be tuned perfectly. I've not tried one, but supposedly they do work, so that could be an option for you. Anyway, lastly, we got to get the final string, the smallest string, and the highest string on the guitar in tune, and that, of course, is an E. And again, we're back to a fourth interval here, so we got to go B, C sharp, D sharp, E. So there's our target note right there on the B string 5th fret, and you can hear our E string is terribly flat. So let's find the right note on the tuner. We're at E flat, and we're going to crank up until we get in the neighborhood of where we need to be. And we're getting close. You can see we're blinking flat. And according to the good old Sabine, we're right on the money. Sounds pretty close. To my ear, still a little bit flat. That's where one of the shortcomings of the Sabine. I believe it's got kind of a window, if you will, of a range, I guess, of frequencies in which it'll show in tune. You know, you could have perfectly in tune right in the middle and just a couple of hertz this way and a couple of hertz this way, and it'll consider all of those to be in tune. It's not perfectly sophisticated as like a strobe tuner would be, but when you're on a dark stage and you're playing with a half-tuned guitar, it sure is a good thing to have. So according to the tuner, we're in pretty good shape. Let's try an E chord. Pretty good. Let's try a C. Pretty pretty good. D sounds pretty good. A sounds pretty good. G sounds pretty good. So we've done a pretty good job. One thing that I do when you're dealing with these electronic tuners, I usually go back and bend all the strings really good. And you're probably going to find that we're terribly out of tune. So go through and do a quickie tune job again. And what that bending the strings does is it basically gets out any slack that you've got here in your tuning pegs, because slack tends to get caught in the peg itself when your wrappings around it. Also, on Fender style guitars, you've got these string trees here. It's this little clip that's screwed down into the peg head itself that the strings have to route under. And a lot of times you'll find slack. This is a good place for slack to get caught. And you'll have friction develop in there, which will keep the string from tuning properly. So one thing you can do is you can get some powdered graphite put up in there, or you can get there's a product called Nut Sauce, which you can put in there. I think there's another product called Graphitol that was developed by GHS, I believe. So Rene Martinez, I think. So anyway. You could look at a number of those products to try to basically eliminate the friction in your string tree, and you should have a happily tuned guitar. So anyhow, thanks for joining us here at Virtual Woodshed or YouTube if you're finding us via YouTube, and I hope you enjoyed this lesson on tuning. Give us some feedback, let us know what you thought, and hope it helps your play. And stop by our website and check out some of our monthly features too. Thanks a bunch. Take care.